Yes, guys, welcome to SFeatleyTV, and we're back for a quick review of today's session in day one of the pre-season testing, the pre-season track session, so I called it, as they're calling it on the Sky website. So obviously we've had day one. First time we've seen all 10 teams take their cars out on the track and drive them in some sort of angle. I'm sure you can put it as that way. Some teams it might have been sandbagging, some teams not. We will just see and have a look at what the teams have been up to this weekend. So I didn't do a TMA, so I haven't been able to do a ratings as of yet. So what I'm quickly going to do is, if I look at images, that's last year's car. That's last year's car. Just trying to have a look at right. Just trying to find it. Sorry, Mark. Just trying to find a livery. That's better. There you go. There you go. Let's yeah, we're just going through each of these. Right. So let's go through. Let's see. FW44. Right, I'm going to do that another time. But yeah, we've been doing really well in this session already. These teams have been doing a lot of work, a lot of laps, a lot of data, a lot of data gathering. 77 laps done by George Russell. I think 80 laps done by Max Verstappen, and then obviously and then Hamilton in the next session doing it as well. Yeah, man, it's been busy for the teams. A lot of aero testing as well. And then Red Bull, fascinating features on the show of their car. And I say fascinating is their side pods look like there's something missing, right? I don't know why, but it looks like there's something missing from the car. Look. Yeah, it's like someone's turned a massive great hole in it. It's a very different way of going about things, a very aggressive way of doing it. So, yeah, it's a very different variation, and different teams vary in different times, trying to exploit different areas of the regs, which obviously are going to leave a massive loopholes. With such changes, there are going to be massive loopholes. So we're going to see how this affects each team. High noses in a crop of cars that display a big range of philosophies on the nose and front wing. Red Bull have opted for a high nose with big clearance such to maximise the volume of airflow under the floor, because it's all dependent about how much airflow they can get for the car this year. To generate them, the more flow you get down there, the more of ground effect you'll be able to produce. The more ground effect produced, the more downforce you can produce. So there you go. Look at that. Look at that's being on in the new car. It looks very different on board. Look at this. It looks very different on board compared to previous seasons. It looks completely futuristic and weird, doesn't it? But yeah, this is the way Formula One's heading. It's 5 things we learned. Let's have a look. New cars show early reliability. There is very little carryover from last year's to this year's new cars. To sweep in are the changes to the technical regulation, which is why it's impressive. Most teams secured very high mileage counts. Only Alfa Romeo and Haas missed out on a century of laps and by some way, with Ferrari topping the lap chart of 153 laps. That's the equivalent of 2 Spanish Grand Prix, 2.5 Spanish Grand Prix. So yeah, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5. No, 2 and just under a half Spanish Grand Prix. That's the equivalent. 66 laps. That's 132 laps. Another 33 laps. This is 165 laps. Very, 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 very just underneath. Very, very good mileage. It's a steep learning curve for the drivers, obviously with the new 18 nano-inch wheels. Look at those wheels. Look at that. Look at those wheels. Right. It's not just in terms of how they behave, but also how the visibility is given to the 18 in the narrow line of sight. That's the thing as well, because there's 17-inch, the 18 nano-inch wheel, 18-inch wheels. The vision is much more centered down the center of the car. You struggle to see to the sides of the car, being that low down in the seat. So that's another factor, which could be a safety factor in the future as we move forward into this season. How they get around that is another matter. It's always been challenging thanks to their low seat positioning and integral parts of the car, like the wing mirrors, are more recently in the halo. But as Daniel Ricciardo says, it's just taken some time to adapt. Red Bull are obviously encouraged by their early pace with the mega stint count they did in day one, thanks to world champion Max Verstappen, where we see the first cut time, the number 1 on the car since 2014. There are always blind spots in the car, so you have to use a lot of your intuition as well when you're racing side by side, said the McLaren driver. But I think that creates sometimes the art of good battle. You use your other instincts to rely on others to pull things, to pull off a move or defend well. There will be a bit more for us to adjust to, especially in the early days of 2022, but maybe a couple of races will be like, we don't really feel it anymore. So it's a lot of adapting for the drivers to get used to, different things to get a grip with, different things to understand, different things of how the car handles, how the car drives, that they need to get on top of. The best drivers will be able to get straight in the car and within a space of a few laps, pushing the car to the limit. You know, like your Max Verstappens, your Lewis Hamiltons. Sometimes you'll get drivers like a Sebastian Vettel, who's still a four-time world champion, but if you saw in 2014, he struggled his brake-by-wire system. So you might get some teams that are just below them, like Carlos Sainz, for instance, might have a poor start to a season. Daniel Ricciardo struggled last season in the McLaren. So, yeah, the real Red Bull broke cover. Finally, they actually unveiled their new car, and the drastic, obviously, that we mentioned, the drastic did on the wheel on the side pods. Right, and that's the question: should they be allowed to keep it? Hamilton in buoyant mood. Lewis Hamilton turned detective on Wednesday morning as he took a stroll down the pit lane, dressed in a hood up, and long trench coat. So a sneak peek at rival teams' garages. The 7-time world champion spent a reasonable amount of time outside Red Bull, whose real RB18 made its public debut in Barcelona before heading back out to watching teammate Russell in action. Ahead of stepping into the car this afternoon, Hamilton, who was again picked to an 8th world title on Max Verstappen in Abu Dhabi, spoke to the media. The opening press conference said he was feeling the freshest I have ever have, and that the last winter break was one of the best I've ever experienced. After losing such a title fight, if that's the case, then God help everyone else in the sport, because Hamilton's back and he's back with a vengeance. He's not going to take any more shit this year. So watch out, Max. Be very afraid, very afraid. Pre-season is a chance for teams, Alfa Romeo, pre-season is a chance for teams to iron out creases with their new machines, and thus in time in the garages with the toolbox open is to be expected. However, Haas and Alfa Romeo will be frustrated to have lost so much time with little gremlins limiting them to 43 and 32 laps respectively. Nikita Mazepin managed just 20 laps with a cooling rate limiting its track time. His Haas teammate Mike Schumacher spent a lot of the afternoon sat at the tool cabinets wearing his beanie while a damaged floor was repaired. That's the last. And this is the thing as well, when you go into the new season, you see the rumble strips offline, for example. You see that what happened with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in Monza. Max Verstappen in this year's car will not want to do that same maneuver again. And I'll tell you for why. If he did, and he somehow got out of it because Hamilton decided how, I don't know how, but manages to get out of the way, right? He would feel the full effects of making that overtake and not making it stick, because it would wreck the floor underneath. The floor becomes even more precious than ever before. So the last thing you need is the going over rumble strips. And if you do go over rumble strips, go over them very, very carefully, because any damage to the floor will wreck the amount of ground effect, right, you'll produce from the car. And then the less ground effect you produce, or the more erratic you produce it, so 1 minute is you producing a lot, 1 minute you're not, it will limit the amount of track time. It will limit the amount of pace you get in and overall balance you get in the car, and make it unstable. So that's the one thing. Another thing to look out for this season. So those are the 5 things we've learned from pre-season testing in the first day. Obviously, there's a long way to go, and I'm not going to do my testing ratings today. I was going to do it today. I'm not going to do it tonight. It's very late. I've got the hospital in the morning, and we will be live. Though I'm at the hospital in the morning, I will be doing a live update session again. So if you do want to tune in, please do tune in. See, I'm very tired as it is. I will be doing that, so make sure you tune in at 9:45 in the morning, and we'll get straight into it, so it'll already be live by then. So we'll be at the hospital doing that. So look at that. We even turn up at the hospital and we still do the content for you guys. So anyway, to try and get as much content of the sessions as we can, as well as doing watch-alongs for the next session, which will be on the 10th to the 12th of March, 1 week before the actual start of the season. If we can do that for you guys, we are more than happy to do that. I'm more than happy to do that. So yeah, and plus it gives us something to do while I'm in the hospital anyway. Also gives you a chance to time it as well. How long will it take them to do a fusion when it's supposed to take only an hour? So, but yeah, we will cover that all for you. But at the moment, like, the only thing I can say is that it's early days, and the first thing I'd say to learn out of this session is to take it with a pinch of salt. Take the leaderboard with a pinch of salt. Like, let me just have a look at the leaderboard. Let me have a look at the leaderboard. Right, there we are. We'll show you the leaderboard at the end of the first session of 2022. For everyone, for fans, the season doesn't start until the first race of the season. For teams and drivers, it all started when the car was launched. But now it really starts now. So Max Verstappen tops the number of laps done, right? But ended up 9th. Right, so Lando Norris topped the time sheet, Charles Leclerc in second, Sainz third, Russell fourth, Hamilton fifth, both with Hamilton only managing 50 laps, Russell 77, especially Vettel with 52 laps, 103 laps by Lando Norris, 80 laps for Charles Leclerc, 70 by Carlos Sainz. The reason Max Verstappen's done double the amount, or 3 times the amount as Lewis, is because obviously he's been doing that all day. So Sergio Perez will do all day tomorrow, I bet. Fernando Alonso, obviously 8th, with Yuki Tsunoda 7th. Bottas in 10th. The Haas of Mick Schumacher 12th. So that's an improvement from last season for the Haas team, if that's actual true pace, that is. Most of these times are on the medium tyre, they're not on the soft tyre, so on all the same tyre. So you've got Lance Stroll, Nicholas Latifi, Alexander Albon was 11th, you've got Nikita Mazepin in 15th, Kubica in 17th. The other drivers did not compete in the session, so there you go, that's why there's only 16 runners. But that's the timing screens. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Right, this has been your quick review of day 1, and we're back tomorrow with day 2. Until then, stay safe, stay well, see you soon.